Hey folks, Mike here, the Ashamed Canadian, and thought I'd do this video here. Um, this is the only way right now that I can do anything. I have a camcorder and it won't download onto my computer for some reason, so it's not supported. So I have a camcorder that's pretty much absolutely useless. I do have this little camera here, as you can see. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it is a 1080p. This camera was actually donated to me by KY Packer fan, and trust me, I really appreciate this KY. I'm doing what I can with it, but I'm having a lot of technical difficulties here. So, as for the auditing part of this, I have been an activist since 1985. I'm 54, so you guys do the math. I was 18 when I started doing activism. I've been an advocate for the homeless and the less fortunate in the cities that I've worked in. Now, as for the cities I've worked in, I've worked from Vancouver to Halifax. I've worked in Canada's largest men's shelter in Toronto to Canada's smallest shelter. I've helped with I'm one of the original founding members of the needle exchange program in Toronto that was first started out with an organization called Street Health, which was run out of the All Saints Church Friendship Center at the corner of Sherbourne Dundas in Toronto back in the 80s. Back then, we started this thing that if you brought in a couple of used needles, that you would get a couple of clean needles. Now it doesn't. They've changed the criteria a bit, which is actually really good. They changed it from not having to drop any off in order to get any. You can just walk up to places now and you can ask for needle kits. They're pretty much in every major city in Canada. You go to Vancouver, you can go down to East Hastings in Maine, right across from the police station. There's a place there you can get free needles. Cups in Calgary. There's a couple of different places. I can't remember the names of them right now, but the ones in Edmonton, Regina, Saskatoon, when I worked there for the summer, there were needle exchange programs there also. So the needle exchange program has gone right across Canada now, and that's one thing that I'm very proud of. And back in the 80s, a whole group of us, and this is before OCAP became OCAP with the member that they have now. OCAP was originally run by a guy by the name of Gaetan. And back in the 80s, we actually went to Parliament Hill and chained ourselves to Parliament Hill, over 150 of us, to get the Privacy Act changed and the Human Rights Act changed in the shelters and drop-in centers. Before you could call any of these places and ask if a person was there, and they would just yell out the name and they would come up to the phone. It is now against the law for any organization to do this. The only thing that they're allowed to do is to take a message, and they can't even say if they use the place or not. So we do have that has been changed. I literally seen a woman get shot in front of me because of this incident, and that was the tipping point for me when you literally see a woman get shot by her husband because she's trying to get away from him and go to a safe spot where she can get help, just to find out that she's going to get killed right there, because people tell them where they are. You know, it's really hard to deal with stuff like that. Now, when I first started working in shelters, the very first shelter I worked in was the Brothers of the Good Shepherd in Hamilton, Ontario. It has a senior center and a soup kitchen and an overnight shelter in the building. I got on the elevator in the basement after just closing up the shelter in the morning, and an elderly guy got on the elevator with me. As soon as the doors closed and the elevator started to move, the guy had a heart attack and died at my feet. To this day, I still won't go on that elevator. And then I ended up working in Toronto at a place called Seton. It's Canada's largest men's shelter. Back in the 80s, there was about 1,800 emergency beds there. Within the first 6 months of me working there, we had found over 125 people dead, whether they had their throats slashed, they're stabbed, natural causes, drug overdoses, strangled, you name it. It's happened there. I even seen one of my coworkers literally choke out and kill a tenant, a person that was at the shelter because the worker got upset. These were some of the other changes that we managed to get made in the shelters, that shelter staff are not allowed to put their hands on you whatsoever. Now, if you take a swing at them or that, they're allowed to protect themselves. Other than that, they cannot grab you. They cannot force you to leave any building, a shelter, that they're not allowed to put hands on you. What they are supposed to do is to have the police called and have you removed. And that is the way to do it. Now, if you're in there and you're smashing up everything, then they have the right to protect the people that are in there and the building, but only to a certain extent. And that even goes for bouncers at bars and that too. Like, bouncers are not allowed to put their hands on you. They can escort you out of a bar or something like that, but they cannot just go up and just grab a hold of you and start throwing you through doors and stuff like that. There is a protocol that has to be met. Now, these protocols have all derived from the way that police are supposed to deal with the public, but the police don't. So, I have seen a lot of deaths. Just as recently as a couple of years ago, met a guy in Halifax, and him and his brother were young and stupid, and the guy ended up ODing. I seen him that night, and the next day I heard that he OD'd after I'd left. Now, I'm dead set against injectable drugs or anything like that. I don't do any other drugs. The only thing I do is I smoke my weed, I smoke cigarettes, and I drink coffee. I don't drink alcohol or anything else like that. I quit doing all that back in 92, 93. I was out partying in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario on New Year's Eve, and I woke up in a hospital in Thunder Bay on January 3rd, um, and not knowing how I got there. And to this day, I still don't know how I got that 700 kilometers. So we, I quit drinking and everything, and I actually went into addiction counseling. I am an addiction counselor by trade, and I also have what's called a CSW, which is a community support worker. I've worked for welfare and social services industry my whole life, whether it's in a drop-in center in Toronto, or a health clinic in Calgary, or a shelter in Toronto, or a shelter in Halifax. I even helped set up with Brunswick Street United Church in Halifax, the breakfast program that goes on there at Brunswick Street United Church when Reverend Gus Pendleton was there. We're going back late 80s. Late 80s. It was before my son was born. So, so like me working and doing this and fighting for people's rights, I've been doing this my whole life. I've had charges brought against me. As recently as you guys seen on one of my live streams that I did, the 10 hours live stream where I was arrested in my own bedroom for breach of peace. The officer there, I found out his name is Officer Theibault. Theibault, I believe is the spelling of it. A very arrogant Frenchman. And I don't say that lightly, because I'm not a racist person. But I know arrogance when I see it. And when you have a guy that mainly speaks French, what do you have? An arrogant Frenchman. Just like you have arrogant Englishmen. Look at Justin Trudeau. Well, no, he's not arrogant. He's just one really big piece of fucking shit that needs to be hung from a tree. But I regress. Anyways, the last few days I've been getting very frustrated with how our legal system actually is. Now, our legal system says to do things by the book. So I do things by the book. I tried, and they say that if you have a problem with the police, to make a complaint, file a complaint. Well, when you file a complaint against a cop, 99.97% of the time, just sort of like the chances of dying from COVID, the cops will find themselves that they did nothing wrong. 99.97% of the time. So you have all these cops that are going around breaking the law, have it on camera and everything, and yet the judge just looks at it and says, well, he's a cop, so he can do it. We don't believe the video. We believe the cop over a video. This is the problem that we're having today, because cops like to use videos against us, but when we use videos against them, they're non-admissible. So we go and we make the complaint, and just to find out that the police clear themselves. Now, what really got my goat going is down here in Moncton is a landlord by the name of Randy Black from 162 Queen Street here in Moncton, New Brunswick. I moved into this building and had signed a lease. I had to pay a damage deposit, so I thought that I was protected under the Landlord Tenancy Act, which is down here the Rentalsman Act of New Brunswick. And it states right in it that no landlord is allowed to go into your room without 24 hours written permission, unless except in an emergency, as in a flood or a fire. It states that right in the lease. And it also says that they have to give notice, and it also says that they have to give you access to your property. So, on May the 11th, I believe it was, of 2015, when I was living there and had this rental agreement and everything in effect, I got into a fight with a guy on the front porch. I will do a quick video of the place and that, and do an update just to show you guys exactly where this place is, what it looks like, and stuff like that. And if I can, I'll even get the guy's face of the guy that is going around doing everything. So this guy, Randy Black, after I got into a fight with a guy, decides that he's going to go into my apartment, put a notice on the inside of my door on the window facing out, saying that I was evicted on the spot, which is illegal here in New Brunswick to do this, especially when you have a lease. So the next day, I went to my doctor's office, which is right next door to where I was living at the time, and tried to get at least get my medication and everything. I'd signed a letter given the representatives of my doctor's office complete control over all of my belongings, and that they were to collect all my belongings. The landlord refused this, and we called the rentalsman, explained to them that I have a lease and everything, and they said that they don't care, that you can make a claim, but the worst thing that's going to happen is the landlord's going to get $100 fine. That is it. That is a maximum that a landlord can get here for doing any injustice to people. So we have a corrupt landlord system, and we have a corrupt rentalsman agency that backs corrupt landlords. So when this didn't pan out, and they didn't want to do anything, I decided to get a hold of city council members and the mayor. The mayor called the police on me a couple of times. City council did the same thing. Nothing they could do. And then in December of 2019, because of me still fighting against these motherfuckers, the mayor, Don Arnold, and city council, Greg Turner, and if I can find it, I'm not sure exactly where it is right this minute, but I still do have the pink form from the police with Mayor Don Arnold's name City Council Greg Turner's name and the Kodiak RCMP name as complainants. Now, it didn't go anywhere. By the time I was supposed to go for fingerprinting, and that's when they found out. That's when I found out that they couldn't even file the charges. The cops or the Crown, and nobody would get a hold of me. I had to travel from Fredericton to Moncton just to go to court. It cost me over $100 just to get here. And then I had to spend the night here because, I was supposed to do fingerprints on one day, court on the next, and there's only a certain amount of buses at the time that were coming here, and it was just a big shit show. And so I have that paperwork showing that those city officials filed false charges on me. And like I said, I still do have that paperwork. It is around. Now, to let you guys know, I had a personal baseball and hockey card collection that was just over 7,000, 8,000 cards. Some of them were worth quite a bit of money. Some of them I kept for a long time from back when I used to deal with cards back in 1990, 89, 90, 91. I used to deal in a lot of cards. At one point, I had the largest personal collection in Canada of hockey and baseball cards. I sold quite a bit of them and that. But I had my Wayne Gretzky rookie card that was autographed. My Nolan Ryan rookie card that was autographed. And I had quite a few other rookie cards. Just Wayne Gretzky alone is worth over $1,000. My card collection was worth just over 15 grand. But I didn't put that down as the total, but there's at least $15,000 worth of cards stolen alone. I had, in 2001, I managed to be able to go to the States, and I actually went to the Daytona 500. It's the last NASCAR race I was ever at, and that was the race that Dale Earnhardt died in. At the time, I'd bought Jeff Gordon, the number 24 DuPont Chevy racing jacket, all leather jacket, and that cost me $800, and then and that was American money, not Canadian. And it also had Dale Earnhardt Sr., Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, and I believe it was Bobby Labonte and Rusty Wallace that had signed my jacket. That jacket's gone. I had a picture of Dale Earnhardt autographed personally to me. That is gone. All the pictures of my kids, my two boys growing up in that, they're gone. My youngest boy will be 31 this year. My oldest will be 33. Getting kids' pictures are impossible now. All those pictures of him growing up that I had, of both of them growing up, they're gone. My wedding pictures, even though I'm separated, but they're gone. Pictures of my stepchildren, they're gone. The necklace that my father-in-law gave me, that's gone. Now, both my mother-in-law and father-in-law and my mother and father are all dead. so I cannot get pictures of any of them. And there's no real pictures out there anymore of them that I can get. Those are all gone. A small coin collection and paper money collection that I had is gone. All my clothing is gone. TV, bed, um, microwave and hot plate and coffee maker and toaster and everything that a person needs to live. You know, I have my stereo system. It wasn't much, but I have my stereo system, about 300 CDs. Um, have my DVD player and my 46-inch TV and about 350 to 400 DVDs, all gone. There was a lot of collectible stuff that I collected, all small stuff, but all collectible stuff. It's all gone. When I mentioned this to the small claims court, they said because it's more than $15,000 worth of stuff that this guy has stolen, that I have to go and press charges against him. It's the only way, because small claims court won't take anything over 15,000. Actually, they only go up to 12,700 here in New Brunswick. So, and we're talking over $15,000 worth of stuff that this motherfucker had stolen from me. So, I'm trying to get some kind of retribution against this guy because, you know, I tried to get my stuff even at an illegal eviction. Now, when I finally, at the end of the day, when we finally got a hold of the rentalsmen, they wouldn't do nothing. We even called the Kodiak RCMP and they wouldn't even come and take a report. Now, if they would have came and taken a report, I would have went to jail, because apparently there, at the time, there was charged with assault with a weapon at that address from the night before, but they didn't even show up. The next day, I come back to the doctor's office again to see what they could do to help me. Now, just so you people know, back then I was going to my doctor's every day. I'd have to get weighed and have my blood pressure and stuff like that checked. I just had my second heart attack at the time and on a lot of different medications and that. So I'd have to go check in with my doctor almost every day. So I went there the next day, got them to call over to the landlord again, and he had told them that he put all the stuff out on the curb last night and he wasn't responsible for anything. So he literally threw everything out. Now, just so you know, there's CCTV footage all around that building. And he was actually caught by a couple of the people that live in the building, because they told me, throwing out stuff, that he had actually sold them my TV and DVD player for $50. Yeah, like this is what 2 laptop computers gone. My Canon Rebel camera gone. Like, this fucker stole everything from me. I've been trying and trying and trying to get some of the stuff that was stolen from me back. I'm using a shitty computer. I got a camera that I can't even download onto the computer with. And I don't have a cell phone anymore. So right now, the only way that I can do anything is hopefully this way. I am really, really tired of all the bullshit, all the fighting. But there are people out there that are suffering worse than me. Yes, I know. And a lot of people don't realize that just because you're going through something doesn't mean that people aren't going through something worse. I have a roof over my head. I have a shitty computer, but I have a computer. I'm able to go onto YouTube and that. So, you know, I have things that there are people out there that don't. Mind you, there are homeless people out there that have things that I don't, like a cell phone, and a good one. Um, I'm not sure how people are able to afford a cell phone these days to go out and buy one. Um, I live on $800 a month. My rent is now $500 a month, and I pay. It cost me $60 a month for my cat, uh, $40 a month for my phone. Uh, and you know, I have like medication that's not covered. Another $100 towards food, and I have no money. I can't afford to go out and spend even $100 on a new phone. I just don't have that. Um, I have this broken ass, cheap ass Alcatel phone, which I got over a year ago, and it was the cheapest phone on the market. I don't know if you can tell, but the screen's broken on it, um, and it just won't even turn on. Um, so I have time on my phone. I just can't turn on my phone so that I can actually use it. Um, One thing I managed to do was I was able to call forward my phone to the house phone. And so if any calls come in, I'll get them to the house phone. Um, so that's, but if I were to go out somewhere and something were to happen to me, I could have a seizure or something like that and need medical attention. I have no way whatsoever of getting a hold of anybody. Um, I've been told that I should really have a cell phone with me at all times, no matter what. Um, to me, right now, even a flip phone, if I was able to put my SIM card in it, I would use a flip phone, um, just so that I could be able to call people in case of something. Um, it would be nice to be able to afford a smartphone so that I'd be able to do like use it as an extra camera to be able to do live recordings and stuff like that. Um, to be able to go on panels with this computer here. I don't even know how the sound's going to turn out yet on this. I'm hoping that it's going to turn out okay, but it seems like when I go on live panels through StreamYard and that everything, all my volume gets broken up and everything, and so nobody can really hear me. So that's one of the reasons why I don't go on panels anymore. I would like to take a moment to thank a few people, though. Um, any fan, you don't know how much help that had given me, what you'd done for me. Um, I appreciate everything that you've done. Um, and Dirty Mike, man, you're the best. Um, I have mad respect for you. And pretty much everybody that comes up on panel, I have mad respect for. And like I said, KY Packer fan for the camera. And another thing, Canadian Rights ET was sent me these headphones with built-in mic and everything in it. They're Bluetooth. So I will be trying those out soon. I don't even know if I have Bluetooth on this laptop, but well, and just so you guys know, I know you see me drinking a lot of Tim Hortons coffee. I don't buy this. I prefer to just go out and make a pot, or we got a Keurig out there, and I'll get the breakfast blend or something, whatever coffee's out there. The roommates, I don't know if they're trying to butter me up or not, but they keep. You want to keep buying me coffee, I'll keep drinking it. Don't get me wrong. It's one of my bad addictions that I have, but hey, it's better than cocaine or crack. I will and would like to be able to go and expose all these guys. But with the equipment I have, I just can't do it. I'm not here to e-bag or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. I try and use whatever I have to do what I have. I do appreciate when people send me things, don't get me wrong. Especially things that could help me with what I'm trying to do. So don't take this the wrong way. If you'd like to help out, hey, I have a PayPal account. It's paypal.me/ashamedcanadian, all one word. And if you happen to have equipment that you'd like to donate, please feel free to contact me. My email address is laboledmike85@gmail.com. So that's LAYBOLTMIKE85@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook under Mike Labeled. In brackets, it'll say Ashamed Canadian. And on YouTube, as you know, Ashamed Canadian. If I really, really think that we need a day that from coast to coast, we have people out there with a camera from coast to coast and show what's going on in your area. And, We need people to pull out their cameras and just start recording anything you see. Doesn't matter what it is, if you like birds or whatever, because you never know what you're going to catch when you're bird watching. You might actually find a real bird. Yeah. Better known as Big Bird or the cops, you know. Um, Sorry, my face is still a bit swollen, folks. I've had tooth infection on this side. I had to literally lance this myself. My face was swollen up the side. It looked like I had a tennis ball inside of my cheek. A couple of weeks ago, the same thing happened here. It's still a little swollen on the inside, so sorry if I look uglier than I usually do, but hey, I got a face for radio. What do you expect? But we really need a day that we can all come together from coast to coast and show what's going on in your neighborhood. And I don't know, maybe on Canada Day, we all just come together and join in a broadcast so that we can, put this all over YouTube for one, which is worldwide, but, so that Canadians actually see what's going on in their area. So, if I have enough time on my StreamYard, if I can get the proper cords that I need by then, I will set up the site so that we can all come together from coast to coast to coast to coast. Sorry, I meant coast to coast to coast. We only have 3 coasts here, not 2, and not 4. We're not an island. But yeah, if we can all come together that day and show what's going on in our neighborhood at that particular time, and we might just get somewheres. We need to get the word out that the government is corrupt. I don't know how else to say it. We have a corrupt government, obviously, that's working for the rich and not for the poor or for the even the middle class here in Canada. One thing I would like to see is if no matter what city you're in, if you guys could do a short video of what it's like in the homeless part of your city, down by the shelters, or if you could find anybody that'll talk to you that's homeless and that. That something like that would really be great, because we're all more interested in when is the shopping malls going to open back up to full capacity? When can I go to the movies again? When can I go to the bar again? When can I do this? When can I do that? We have all this when can I, and that's a problem. We've have vulnerable people that have been out there during this whole pandemic, or pandemic or whatever the fuck you want to call this. But we've had these people that are out there, and not only are they out there, but more people are going out there. This pandemic has ruined lives, ruined families. People have lost their vehicles, their houses, and people are losing their dignity. People that were actually working a year and a half ago are now homeless. And now they see it, what it's like to be homeless. And unfortunately, unless you've been homeless or you know people that are actually homeless and you deal with them on a regular basis, you don't have a fucking clue what homelessness is like. Do you know what it's like when you gotta fight just to eat? Do you know what it's like just to fight just to get some cardboard so that you can stay warm on a fucking grate on a city street? Do you know what it's like to fight just to get a fucking blanket? Do you know what it's like to fight just to be able to sit somewheres? Because you're homeless, a cop will come up and tell you to keep moving along. You're loitering, you're loitering, you're loitering. And technically, you are. The problem with that is that if you don't have a home to go to and you live on the streets, you're technically not loitering because you're in your own home. You're in the public. There is no real law saying that you cannot sit on the street. The cops come up with that and they call it vagrancy or loitering because business owners don't want you around there because you don't look the part. Homeless people don't have a chance to go and, do their laundry every day, be able to have a shower every morning, to be able to eat properly, to even have hygiene products so that they can even brush their teeth or comb their hair or anything like that. So when you start going around and judging people because they're out on the street, just remember, in a paycheck or two, that could be you. We have over 1.5 million homeless people in Canada. 1.5 million in a country that only has 33 million people. And every day it's adding and adding and adding. We have food banks that are going through the roof right now. They had to cut supplies to people because there's so many people using the food banks now because they're out of work. They can't afford to buy food. And any money that they do have left over, they use just so that they have a roof over their head so that they have a place for their kids to stay. We have a very bad housing situation in Canada. And when you have 1.5 million homeless people in Canada, you know that there's a fucking problem. There's no way that this number should be even close to 1/10 of that. It shouldn't be. It just should not be, especially here in Canada. We pay politicians top money. We pay police, well, the RCMP to start with, first year base salary to start as an RCMP officer is $58,000 a year. And a first year sergeant is over $77,000 a year. We have over 20,000 RCMP officers alone in Canada. 20,000 of them. Add that up. I bet you out of the 20,000, I bet you 4,000 are at least fucking sergeants or higher. So you're looking at over $77,000 and up for theirs. But even at, 15,000 people making $58,000 a year so that they can go out and violate your rights because they never learned the law. They never even learned the Constitution of Canada. They never even learned the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Now, if this was taught in high schools, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and basic law, our cops would be better trained to begin with because now they already know what the Charter of Rights and Freedoms are because it was taught to them in high school. So when they go to college to get their 6 months or 9 months fucking course to become a cop, they already have that information there, and now they can go on with the rest of it. Now, I believe that in order to be a cop, like I said, you should have in high school, Charter of Rights and Freedoms and the Constitution of Canada should be taught. And when you go to college to become a cop, instead of 6 or 9 months, it should be 2 years. That 2 years, out of that, 1 year of it alone is just law. And what they need to do every day and how to present the law. Because if they were to learn this, we wouldn't have our court system tied up as much as it is. We wouldn't have as many people sitting in jail waiting for bail hearings because of this. Because the cops would already know that their constitutional rights are being violated. So right there would be enough for them to know that no, we cannot do this because the Constitution of Canada says that no, we can't. But just because I wear a badge means that I can do it. No. And this is what we need to stop. We got too many egos out there. Look at the fucking piece of shit Thibault or whatever the fucking goof's name was from the Kodiak RCMP that arrested me right here in my bedroom for breach of peace in my own fucking house because I said I didn't respect him and I told him to shut up at my house. That was the only reason why I was arrested that day, because I told him to shut up and I told him I didn't respect him and I called him a terrorist. And they hate the truth. I don't have to respect anybody. Respect is earned, not given. And until you earn it, you get this. Okay? Because as far as I'm concerned, every one of you cops are fucking dirty. Until you start turning in dirty cops, you're dirty yourself. Okay? You tell all of us out there, well, just let us know what your friend's name is, and we won't tell them this, and we won't do this, and we won't do that, and you fucking lie and lie and lie and lie and lie. And then you want us to turn on our people, but when your people are doing bad, you just stand there and turn around and do nothing. And you don't believe me? Look at the George Floyd incident. Look at that fucking Teo, or whatever the fuck that goof's name was that was just standing there pushing everybody back while Derek Chauvin was fucking killing him. And he just stood there and watched and kept people back from helping poor George Floyd. Yeah, George Floyd might have had a record. Who gives a fuck? Everybody pretty much nowadays has a record because of the police. You get a butthurt cop and bang, you got a fucking criminal record, whether it's a misdemeanor or a fucking felony in the States, or if it's indictable or summarily here in Canada, we all end up with a criminal record one way or another. Your driving offenses, the cops will use against you in a criminal case because you forgot to turn your signal light on. They will use that against you. They will use your friends against you. But when you ask them to come clean about the dirty cops, they all shut up and they won't fucking say a word. They all plead the, in the States, they plead the fifth. Here in Canada, they just say, well, fuck you, you have to go through our union. We don't say anything. You have to talk to the union rep. You have to talk to the PIO. You have to talk to somebody else, but you cannot talk to the person that actually did the fucking crime. You have to talk to everybody else. Well, what if when the cops start talking to you, you tell them that they have to fill out a FOIA request for any information? Yeah. They make you do that. You have to put in a public records request or a FOIA request, whatever you want to call it in your province, territory, or state. A FOIA request or a public records request is pretty much the same thing, and FOIA just is Freedom of Information Act request, which is a public records request through your public officials. I put in several public records requests, all been denied. I put in a public records request to the mayor about the information that she'd received from the police about me, and it was refused and said that I have to go through the Kodiak RCMP in order to get that information. Kodiak RCMP won't reveal that information because it was sent to the mayor. So, again, I put in several requests, or at least tried to put in several requests to find out the cop's name that came to my house and arrested me. And nothing was ever done. They wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't tell me anything. I phoned a few times, and because they know my number, they won't even answer the phone. They just block my number from their call center. And this is Kodiak RCMP, non-emergency line number, 857-2400, area code 506. They will not even answer my calls. Sometimes they'll just disconnect me, or sometimes they'll just let it ring and ring and ring, and then it'll go to a voicemail saying that you can't leave a voicemail. This is how dirty the cops are playing. If we did even close to anything like this, we would be charged with obstruct justice. Now, I'm trying to get justice and trying to bring this cop to justice for what he did to me. And they're hiding him. They would not give me his name or anything. I had to go through over and over and over again, and it took me a few people sending me messages that I'm pretty sure I know who he is now, which is that Thibault, or whatever the fuck you want to call that cocksucking Frenchman. Should go back to fucking Montreal with the rest of the swamp singing fucking goofs and stay in fucking toilet seat land. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, we might be the only fully bilingual province in Canada, but that fucking arrogant goof Frenchman needs to go, and he needs to go quick. The guy actually needs to fucking find his way into the bottom of a fucking well and not be able to get out. But, you know, I'm not saying I'm going to do anything like that, because I wouldn't. But if he were to fall into a well, there's no fucking way I would help him. If he were to get into an accident, I would just stand there and film, and you know, if he died, he died. I wouldn't give a fuck anymore, because that's the way we need to take out the trash in this city. And if you don't like it, suck my fucking dick, peg. And Thibault, Theibault, I'm coming for your job, and you better make sure that you either resign or move. But I am coming after your job. You want to fucking come into my house and start fucking lipping off to me and everything, and then a fucking arresting me for freedom of speech in my own fucking house? Boy, you are in for a long court battle, and I don't care how long it takes. But you motherfuckers in the Kodiak RCMP are all going to be exposed for how dirty you really are. You're nothing but a corrupt bunch of police that are run by the biggest corrupt fucking terrorist in Canada, and his name is called Justin Trudeau. And yeah, if you want to fucking come and do anything, my address is 39 Marsh Street in Moncton, New Brunswick, motherfucker. Okay? I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. So either you guys pick up your fucking bootlaces and start towing the line, or I'm coming after your fucking jobs one way or another. And I don't care how I do it anymore. But you dirty ass motherfuckers are all going to be exposed. And if I can get the right camera equipment to go out to do this, I would be out there already. But as you guys know, as I said earlier in this broadcast here, that I don't have a phone anymore. I got a camera that I can't use to download, and all I have is that little GoPro. And I have problems uploading a lot of those videos also, because I don't know what it is. It just won't take properly. The sound plays, but then the video plays 3 times faster, and it's all fucked up, and I really don't know how to do it. So if anybody could help me, it'd be greatly appreciated. I'm going to try and I want to try and expose these people. The problem is that when I try to do it, nobody listens. And listen, I've been going through this for over 35 years, so almost 40 years I've been doing this. And it just bothers the fuck out of me that we've had changes made, and yet the police are trying to take them away from us. I had the Kodiak RCMP tell me that the Canadian Charter of Rights is only a guideline, and that it can be interpreted any way they want. Yeah. That night that I was at the police station, the desk sergeant that was on there had a tag on with a blue line on it. Now, on October 11th of 2020, there was a statement issued, and you can all go, you can just Google Blue Line in Canada. There's Global TV did a report on it and saying that the head of the RCMP has made it strictly um, the cops are no longer allowed to wear the blue line on their uniform or vehicles, period, at all. Um, the cops are now going around and saying that it's not the blue line, it's our union uh, sticker or union flag. It's not. The union flag is not a blue line. Now, there's a lot of controversy about where the blue line started. Yes, it started to support the police and fallen officers, and that's what it was for. It really made headlines back in the late 80s, early 90s when police would. There was a few cops that were shot, so they were wearing the blue line across their badges in support and memory of fallen officers. Um, but it never come off. In Canada now, they're not allowed to wear the blue line flag. The only thing that they are allowed to wear is the ribbon with the blue line in it on their uniform. It's the only thing, and it's stated right from the head of the RCMP of Canada. And yet these guys are making their own rules and saying that, oh, because it's a union logo, we can wear it. No, you can't. If that was the case, then the Hells Angels could go around wearing their colors wherever the fuck they want. The Banditos could do that and that. But you guys made it against the law for them to wear their colors, but you guys are allowed to wear your colors? How is that? You know, it makes no sense at all. You know, you got the Trudeau government that's calling the Proud Boys a bunch of terrorists and actually put them on the terrorist watch list here in Canada. But the biggest terrorist is Justin Trudeau and the Kodiak and the RCMP, not just the Kodiak RCMP, but the RCMP in general. The Surrey RCMP is the largest RCMP detachment in Canada. Surrey is a fairly big city, a hell of a lot larger than the Greater Moncton area. So they actually have a lot more. It is the largest, and that city is trying to get rid of the RCMP. They need to go to a city police force instead of the RCMP. Moncton here pays $52 million a year for government services, which is the RCMP. But yet, City Council has no control whatsoever of what the RCMP do because they're run by Justin Trudeau right now. Whoever the Prime Minister is at the time is their boss. So, and Justin Trudeau is using the RCMP like it's his personal SWAT force. So you have the Surrey RCMP that's the largest, and Kodiak is probably one of the smaller ones, even though we have like roughly around 140,000 people in the Greater Moncton area, which is Moncton, Riverview, and Dieppe, Shediac. And there's a few little villages in between there, and that it's all the Greater Moncton area. So you go outside of the Moncton area, you go to Fredericton, they have city police. You go to Bathurst, they have city police. You go to pretty much any other city, St. John, Sussex, all these places. You go to all these other bigger towns and cities in New Brunswick, they all have their own police force. Moncton is the only one that actually doesn't have its own police force. They used to, and then they got rid of it. And now it's just the Kodiak RCMP. The problem with the RCMP running cities is that that you cannot go after the Kodiak RCMP. You cannot go after the Kodiak RCMP like you can, or any RCMP like you can any other police force. They're protected by the Canadian government, and they have nothing to do with the unions of the, like here in New Brunswick, there's the New Brunswick Policemen's Union. And that goes for all the New Brunswick city polices, but not the RCMP. The RCMP are in a group of themselves. They have a lot more discretion on what they can do. They cannot be held accountable for anything they can do, for anything they do. Just search the internet. Seriously, look at what happened to that guy Jasinski, I believe it was, out in Vancouver at the YVR. And just so you guys know, YVR is the name for the Vancouver International Airport. There was a Polish guy that was there, couldn't speak English, and they tasered him 5 times until he died. There's video of the court and everything where the guy that actually admitted to telling them to do it again and again and again, and he never even got as much as a reprimand, let alone held accountable for what they did. They literally killed this guy because he couldn't speak English and he had a stapler. That's it. He was frustrated. He couldn't speak English. He was Polish. And because he couldn't speak English, they tasered him. And tasered him. And tasered him. Until he died. And every one of those cops, nothing happened to him. I know that they had a good vacation that was paid for by us. But yeah, nothing ever happened to them. The reason why Justin Burke went crazy down here and shot the 5 cops, killing 3 of them, is because a cop got off on killing somebody that he could have otherwise tasered or something else. But no, it doesn't matter. You can give these cops all the tools in the world, and the first thing they go for is their gun. Just this year alone, there was a lady here in New Brunswick, an Aboriginal lady, and she had a knife. So instead of the male cop pulling out a taser or pepper spray or something like that, the first thing they go for is a gun. They shoot and kill her. About a month later, pretty much the same thing happened to an Aboriginal guy. Got shot by the RCMP. Those cops got paid vacations and they're back on the job and nothing ever happened to them. I think that if they're going to be cops, then maybe they should walk around without a gun for the first 5 years. All they get is a taser. You know, most cops in England don't even have guns. All they have are tasers and billy bats. And you don't see the bullshit that you do here. You don't see the police killings that you do here. There's a lot of countries out there with police forces that, have no killings at all by police, for a year or two at a time. The odd time there is the odd one that, they go crazy and they start shooting at other people. So yeah, they end up getting shot and killed. But other than that, and all these cops that are going around, the couple of the worst things I could hear that comes out of a cop's mouth. The first thing is, in this day and age. Well, did you know in this day and age that there's cameras everywhere? Did you know that in this day and age more cops are being arrested? Did you know that in this day and age that more cops are getting killed because of what they do? Do you know that in this day and age that the cops put the targets on the backs themselves because of them hiding behind the police unions and that? Did you know that in this day and age that you're 10 times more likely to be killed by a cop than you are a terrorist or a mass shooter? That's pretty bad. And, just this year alone, there's been just over 150 mass shootings in the States. And yet, they're safer than cops. These cops that don't know the law are more of a danger to society than a terrorist. See, a terrorist, we know what they're going to do. We know that they're terrorists. We know that they want to do harm. We know that they want to do bad things to us. Police are supposed to be there to protect us from people like that, but they're worse than the people that we're being protected from, apparently. So, I've been doing this for an hour and 17 minutes now, so I'm going to do what I can about uploading this. Do you want to come up here, buddy? Hey, you want to say hi to everybody before we go? Hey, look at that. Say hi, everybody. Hey, this is my therapy kitty. This is Peanut. And yes, he was named after Jeff Dunham's puppet, Peanut. So, I am going to stop my rant for now, and I'm going to try and put this up on the internet.
Shut up, Tigger. Go.
So, until then, let's see. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe, and hit that Liberty Bell. And again, I'm not asking if you guys feel that you would like to donate. My PayPal is paypal.me/ashamedcanadian, all one word. And if you're able to, if you have some equipment that you're not using that you would like to donate, so that I can continue on with my fight, please let me know. Again, my email address is layboltmike85@gmail.com. That's LAYBOLTMIKE85@gmail.com. And you can find me, like I said, on Facebook, Mike Leibold, and in brackets, it'll say Ashamed Canadian. And of course, right here on YouTube, Ashamed Canadian. So again, like, share, subscribe, hit that Liberty bell, and don't forget to always, always, always record the police. Have a wonderful day, folks.